Okay. Are we recording?
We are.
Okay. I don't know this person. Um, I don't know anything except this video title showed up in my feed, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to change my life in 6 months, especially if that means cash.
Right?
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because there's no context. And I mean, I guess you could look at the description or whatever, but I don't know who Alexis Kingsley is.
let's
Um,
read the description.
okay.
I didn't even occur to me when I sent you this link.
That's the first thing I look at. I look at the descriptions.
I normally do too, but I saw the title. I was like, well, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's read this. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Oh
interesting.
shit.
Okay, so just in case in the recording this isn't very big, it says there's a
Oh,
quote and it says, "You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine." And that quote is by John Maxwell, which great quote, right?
right.
So you want to change your life in 6 months so that you can wake up and genuinely say that you love your life? Yes, I do. In this video, I'll share with you my story of changing my life where after 6 months, my life looked completely different. So in this video, I'll show you how to change your life in 6 months in 4 steps so that you can change your life. That sounds like AI generated description because
Like, good job.
it very repetitive. Like, okay, thanks for reiterating the title in different ways without actually telling me anything.
Right. Right. Now, here's the thing. I just want to say this.
I love AI, by the way. So
I fucking love AI.
no
But
dig, a little dig, but
you
no
and
dig.
I both, as far as I know, I'm going to speak for you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and we can even edit it out. Um, but I love my life,
Yeah,
and you love your life.
I do.
So I am hyper focused on how to bring my business back revenue wise in whatever
Mhm.
form that means. I'm very open to people just driving by my house and throwing piles of cash at me. It doesn't really matter how that happens.
Yeah, I want to jump on that bandwagon too. If people want to drive by my house and throw bags of cash at me, I happily
Totally
accept
cool.
it.
Right. So I am personally very happy with my personal life, and I'm very blessed
Mhm.
in that arena. The one
Absolutely.
thing that I am lacking is revenue because 2023 was a hellhole for that particular area. So
Sure.
I say all of this to say this is where, because I pay for YouTube Premium, I use that back button continuously. So I
Mm.
would 100% start this video because one of the things that I believe that I need to do to change, to improve my financial circumstances to be even better so that I can take my wife, who really desperately wants to go to Disney World this year, to Disney World without feeling stressed.
Hmm.
Um, is that I need to get more organized, more structured, more hyper focused on what are the activities and actions that I can take that will bring the most amount of success. Because the problem with the digital space, which is where I make my money, is that there is an endless amount of ways to go, but you
Hmm.
don't know out of those which one's going to bring you, Rachel Renee, the most amount of success, right?
Yeah.
So I am looking deeply for, which is probably why this showed up in my feed, of things about like the 12-week year, about how to organize my time, how to figure out what's going to bring me success. And sometimes you don't know, you never know. So you have to
Yeah.
choose something and then implement it and actually follow through. So I say all of this to say I slightly have concerns that this is going to go in the woo. I was unhappy and now I was sad and now I want to make my life happy, which is
Yeah.
fine. But because I am on a timetable to improve my finances, if this goes in the woo direction, I would generally and normally, once I figured that out, skip and go to the next video because it's not relevant, because I'm big into just in time learning. And since
Sure.
I'm personally happy and my life is personally emotionally good, I don't need that in my life right now. I need to
Mhm.
learn how to use my time better.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, and here's the thing too, Renee. So you are the one that you utilize YouTube as a learning platform. Like you go to
yes,
YouTube to learn
100%.
about all the things, right? I use YouTube to look up music videos. So
I do that too. I do that too.
or movie trailers. So we use this tool very differently. But also, like you have more experience in kind of like catching that much faster than I
Uh-huh.
would. So I am curious to see at what point you start tuning out, if it goes in a different direction that you're expecting. I'm just kind of curious to see like at which point either of us, because I feel like I'm going to tune out way sooner than you will.
Okay, well that's interesting. Now, I think you bring up a really good point, because like I do use YouTube is a tool for me in my
Yeah.
business. I'm constantly using it to learn.
Yeah.
Now, at night, like last night before we went to bed, we were done watching TV and it was too late to start the next episode of the show. So
Uh-huh.
that's usually when I'll switch to YouTube and start watching music videos.
Yeah.
So, like last night, we watched Taylor Swift and Tracy Chapman and mostly Taylor Swift videos until we were ready to go to
Sure.
bed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I do that too. But during the day, if the sun is up, my brain is in business mode. So, therefore, um, I can't, it would be a very bad idea unless I am rewarding myself because I did take massive action. And then I can
Hmm.
reward myself with a Taylor Swift video. Um, then that's how I do it. But for you, when you're sitting down during the day, do you generally know what you need to do next? And do you know like a long-term vision for what you're doing with your time? Or do you need to research a lot as well?
So it depends. Like typically, like when I start my day, I've already planned for it the day before. Meaning I've already set up like the tasks that I want to work on or accomplish work wise, and then the things that I need to focus on, outside of work or business or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
So I already I've already planned for it the day before. And honestly, I've planned for my whole week. So on
Yeah.
Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, I've already kind of set up what my week flow is going to look like. Because, my kids have all sorts of after school activities. You and I have talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
There are certain days where I am just running around nonstop until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, it's not every single day, but because of that, like you are super intentional with your time, which I absolutely admire because you're very specific about this is where I'm going to put my energy. Like this
Mm.
is where I will focus my energy on, right? Whereas for me, I'm more of a timetable structure. Like, okay, so from the hours of like between 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m., those are my like dedicated deep work hours. And so that's
Uh-huh.
when I'm going to only focus on business, client work, things like that. And then I have my date, like the hours are structured in a certain way too. So in a sense, I'm very rigid when it comes to stuff like that, but that's only because if I deviate from it, like today was a really good example. I had it on my calendar. I had listed out when I have a meeting, the I allotted time for picking up a library book. I allotted time for going to Whole Foods to do an Amazon return. I allotted time for picking up flyers from the FedEx store. Um, but because I deviated from it, like I started running behind. And
Right.
and so I have to be very intentional in that regard, if that makes any sense. So during the daytime,
Sure.
when it comes to what I need to do and what I need to work on next, I've already got a pretty good idea like before the week even starts. So that's the reason why to me, YouTube is not a, like I don't approach it like a learning platform. I approach it for entertainment. Because when
Yeah,
I'm,
see, that makes sense.
yeah, because when I'm working, I
Yeah, that
need
makes a lot of
background
sense. You
stuff.
approach it for entertainment.
Yeah, like, but the background stuff is like music.
Right. Like
So,
I listen to a lot of Miss Monique, which is techno DJ.
oh,
Yeah.
I
But
would not
also,
have thought that.
so much of my work is solving problems.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly looking up how to solve a problem on YouTube. So like if I'm
Oh, yeah,
having an
yeah,
issue trying to figure out how to fix a plugin or yeah,
yeah.
or a concept. Can you hear the dogs?
No, can you hear my dogs?
No.
Okay.
Mm,
They were
yeah.
barking up a storm just a little while ago. So I think it's because they can hear me talking and I left them in the backyard with the back door open. But when I have the back door open, I have a dog gate. So
Oh,
the air, I get fresh air coming in and out of my home, but the dogs can't come in and out because otherwise they'll come in with muddy paws and they track like crap all across my kitchen and living room floor that I have to clean up. So,
same.
yeah,
Well,
total
that's
segue.
why
Sorry.
no. That's why we have we have three robots that are continuously cleaning the floor, and they still don't do a good enough job because the dogs are constantly tracking in like dead grass.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
a
Well,
it's a
especially right
mess.
now,
Yeah.
like with the weather as it is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that was a lot of preamble. Alexis Kingsley, we really appreciate you no matter what this video is about. I bet you are an amazing YouTuber, and I can't wait to watch your stuff. I will
Yes.
subscribe to you no matter where this goes.
Let's go.
Um,
Let's do
all
it.
right, let's do it.
This morning routine had four very specific parts, and they were all like funneling toward this vision. So
I want to say something because I think God, I say that constantly. But I think what she just said is interesting because, by the way, this seems to me like this is going in the direction of something that I would enjoy. How are you feeling so far? What is your vibe?
Oh yeah, no, totally. This it sounds like she sets up her days the morning of, whereas I do it the day before or the Sunday before. So I'm really curious. It has piqued my curiosity for sure.
What she said that I found fascinating in this, if I understand where she's going with this correctly, is that she sets up her morning routine based upon what her current focus is. And I love that because, to her point, I do think that this whole morning routine thing, by the way, honestly, I think that it may have all started with Tim Ferriss, the last guy we just recorded about. Um, this whole morning routine thing is, you got to go stand in the sun, you got to drink your tea upside down. I don't know. I mean, it's just there's so many things. Like
For
everybody's
sure.
so obsessed with what is the successful people do in the morning. It's really not about what they do in the morning, it's about what they do next. But what I like what she just implied is, let's say that your focus is your current focus. Let's say like for the next 3 months your focus is to write a book. Well, then maybe your morning routine centers around getting you in the right headspace for that. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a really
absolutely.
interesting idea, is that your morning routine is fluid. It's not this lifetime commitment. It's
Yeah.
fluid depending on what your current goals are.
Yeah,
That's
no,
interesting.
I really love that she's saying that already because goals change, your vision changes. So
Mhm.
why set yourself up to something so structured that I don't know. I'm curious to see like if there's a lot of integration because the work life integration involved in this
Yeah.
or if this is just very like work specific, like work directed.
Okay. I'll hit play.
Okay.
when you're showing up at the coffee shop at 6 a.m. every day, it's kind of like, I don't feel motivated to do this. So there has to be like a motivational inspiration routine, and that's what I found when I was looking at this list. So
Ooh.
much of that is related to just this inspirational.
You got something to say?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So like what she's saying about writing her goals every single day to refocus her, I think that is something that's missing in a lot of the advice that's given, you know, and I understand that is a little bit more woo, right? But when you have a goal, isn't that kind of what you do? Like you remind yourself what your end goal is every single time you make a decision. And the fact that she puts it pen to paper makes it real every single time she writes it. And
I agree. I did, like Andy and I, for years before we had any sense of success, when we were just trying and trying and trying to just get 100 page views a day, we
yeah,
would every morning read affirmations.
yeah,
And those affirmations were super specific to our goals.
right, right.
I really believe in that. I think there's a lot of power in that.
I do too, because your brain is the most influential thing in your life. Like, I mean, maybe I'm making it up, but there's like a brain bias. So if you are writing the same thing over and over again, and you're writing it in the present tense, like what she explained, I am a best-selling author. I am a full-time YouTuber. It's in the
I am
present tense.
statements.
Yeah, the I am statements. When you write it down, your brain can't distinguish between reality and dreams, right? So that
Yeah.
may be a dream to you, but you're writing it in the present tense, which almost tricks your brain into thinking, oh, that's reality. And so the brain bias is now it's going to do things, make decisions based on your current, like your I am statements. So it's almost like inevitable success, because your brain is trying to find the connections to make that like concrete for you.
Yeah.
It's just it's so fascinating that she says that, but she didn't. Did she say affirmations, or did she just say I wrote down
No.
my goals?
She just wrote down her goals. I brought in
Yeah,
affirmations, but yeah, she wrote down her goals. And she's not saying I wrote down my goals and read them. She's saying I literally wrote down my goals every day.
exactly. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that is
To
so
start her
powerful.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
Love
by
it.
the way, goes back to the last video we just did, where you and I were discussing what do we want to be known for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you don't know your goals, you don't know what you want to be known for.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like the universe
So
is telling us some stuff.
yeah, I was going to say, so I will clarify that it's not necessarily that I don't know what I want to be known for. I think I have an idea of what I want to be known for, but I feel like it's a very shallow interpretation. Do you know what I mean? So, and then me, the overachiever and overthinker, when you ask me that question and I said, I don't know, that was a lie. I know, but I don't know if it's the right answer for me right now. Like, I think it's very superficial, because like as soon as you asked the question, I had something in my head, but I was like, but I don't think that's actually it. I think it goes deeper than that. So I want to explore it a little bit more before I speak it out loud. And then, you know, like I said earlier, give power to what I have said. I don't want to say something, give power to it.
Yeah.
And now my
Yeah,
brain
I
is
get that.
thinking, oh, that is what it is, when really it's something else.
Well, I think you bring up something interesting too, because just saying the word, to me, saying what do I want to be known for is so ridiculous to say out loud.
Right.
What do I
Yeah.
want to be known for? It
Yeah.
sounds so
Egotistical?
egotistical and yeah, egotistical and silly. It's just silly. I am just a middle-aged woman um from the country,
Yeah.
wishing she lived in the city. And for me to say the words, what do I want to be known for, is completely goofy. But at the same time, if you own a business of any kind, let's say you own a pizza restaurant, right? You can't, you have to make sure that your restaurant is known for pizza, because it's a pizza restaurant. If you want to
Right.
own a business, you have to be known for something related to your business. If you own a pizza restaurant, but you're known for selling crochet dolls, those two things don't make a lot of damn sense.
Right.
So it sounds egotistical, and I think part of that is just being a woman feeling that.
Yeah.
But it's practical. It's a
Mhm.
practical question. What do you want
Yeah.
to be known for? So her writing down her goals is very practical. She's not trying to be egotistical.
Yeah.
She's trying to be practical.
Well, and something that you just mentioned too is I think it's the meaning that you put behind the question too. Like
Yeah.
you and I talk about it all the time. Definitions are very important to me because when you define something, now everybody has the same understanding because you have explained the definition. So the meaning behind the question of what do you want to be known for? The first thought is what do you want to be known for uh, professionally, right? Like that's what I was trying to, that's the word I was looking for. So, what do you want to be known for professionally? And there is a difference between what you want to be known for professionally and what you want, like how you want to be remembered, right? Like, how do you want people to
That's
think of
true.
you? So, you're, and that's the reason why I stopped and I said, I don't know, because I want to think of the word, or I want to think of what it is I want to be known for that ties both my professional and my personal life together. Because I think that is where you gain a lot more clarity in the direction that you want to go. Because when those
Mm-hmm.
two are intertwined and overlap, because we talk about work-life balance all the time, but balance means giving something up for something else. Like to balance
Yeah.
something, something has to give, right? Like you have to put more into one than the other. I love work-life integration because that's when it works together in harmony. So when your professional ideals and meaning matches your personal ideals and meaning,
Yeah.
I think that is when you're like, oh, well, then that's how I want to be known, both in the professional realm and by my friends and family, like people that know me personally. I want them to think of like when I say the word or the thing, I want it to overlap. I want it to be all of it.
Yeah. That
And see,
makes
now
sense
I'm
to me.
overthinking it again.
But I understand why.
Yeah.
Do you also so when I asked you that question of what do you want to be known for, and you have not said, which is totally cool. That's it's okay that you haven't said. But have you not said because we're recording or because you're afraid of saying things out loud because then your brain hears it?
It's because I don't want to say it out loud because then it gives it realness. It gives it reality. And
Right.
it's something that I teach my kids all the time too is, words have power. And
Mm-hmm.
so when it's something that I still struggle with. So I have a habit of procrastinating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just that phrase of I have a habit of procrastinating, it was so hard for me to change to that phrasing instead of saying I am a procrastinator. Because when I say I am a procrastinator, now I've made that part of my identity. I have a habit of procrastinating you can change habits. Like that is something you can change when you say I am a procrastinator. That is you connect it with your identity.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah.
So I am very conscious of that because I know that I am easily influenced by the things that come out of my mouth. So if I say something, my brain like grabs onto, I don't know if it's the ADHD or, just anxiety. I don't know what it is. But when I say something out loud, my ears hear my voice saying it and then it grabs it and then pulls it in and then says, okay, this is part of your identity now. And it's a very hard habit to break out of. Or it takes a lot of work to like get the claws off of it and then like push it out to say that is not part of my identity. That is a characteristic, but I can change that if it's a negative one or even the positive ones, like when I know that people think that I am very peppy and upbeat. And sometimes when I don't feel peppy or upbeat, it makes me feel bad because I know the expectation, or in my head, the expectation of everybody else is that I am this chipper, peppy, happy person. And when I'm not chipper, peppy, happy, I have disappointed them. So,
I
so
don't
this
think
is
I think it's that you've surprised them.
surprise, sure. But even still, like once
I
again,
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
because I've said it out loud, I have like grasped, like I've put my talons into it and I have made it part of my identity. And now I feel like I am disappointing people when the expectation is different from the reality. So that's why I'm just personally, I am very conscious of what I speak out loud about myself, about the people around me. And, it's one of the reasons why I try really hard not to say bad things about other people because I'm
Yeah.
like, but it's not them. It's not their identity. Some people it is their identity, but for the most part, like when I'm going to bitch about somebody, it's because of something that has happened. Like it is an action, not their identity.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's interesting because you are such a thoughtful person.
Oh,
Um,
I appreciate that.
well, I'll give you a perfect example. I keep thinking about because we just had this past weekend, Andy and I had our friends over to our friends that had not seen Barbie yet, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we had a Barbie brunch, which turned into the whole
Oh,
day. But and so we decorated and um we had appetizers and then a brunch, and then we had movie snacks, and then after the movie we had more dessert so that we could talk about the movie, right?
how fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally a good time. But I say all that to say, I had that cheese board that you gave me for my
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, for I think it was my birthday one year
Yeah.
or maybe Christmas. Honestly,
It
I
might have
can't
been
remember now.
Christmas. Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know. Doesn't matter. You gave it to me and it reminded me of the cheese board that you just gave your friend.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've been cleaning up for the last several days and putting things where they go and putting it all away. And so I keep thinking about you and how thoughtful you are in your gift
Oh,
giving. Yeah.
I
Um,
appreciate that. I try to put a lot of thought into the things that I give people.
yeah, that's really good. Yeah, you're awesome.
Oh, thanks. So are you.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
And
shall we?
we are but mirrors of the people that we're surrounded by, right?
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
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 All right, we're 2 minutes in.
I was
So
going to say, look, Alexis she's started these, like she's prompted us to like really dive deep into something that she just mentioned in passing. So thank you so much, Alexis.
I know. You're awesome, Alexis. We're rooting for you.
Yes. All right, let's continue.
That just kept me motivated. So every morning I'd just be listening to these songs that motivated me or touched me in some way. A lot of them were like Disney songs or motivational songs, or they're kind of cheesy, but it really
See,
just
this is all
motivated me
brain
to pick the song of
hacking.
the week. And then I would
What's that?
It's all brain hacking. She's hacking her brain
I
to
see.
be attuned towards her goals and for what her definition of success is. So, yeah, I'm loving this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
get into what I would call like the deep work, like whatever the priority is for you, which for me it was starting the YouTube channel, but I was still teaching. So this morning routine, I would say that I probably did that from 6 to 6:15, and then from 6:15 to 7 is then when I would work on whatever I had assigned for myself for the YouTube channel, whether that was like rough editing a video or final editing a video or like outlining or drafting or whatever it was. Then I would work on it in that spot. And that was all the time that I gave myself to work on it, and I found
Hold on, let's look at her thing here if we can.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Prep teaching lunch.
So,
Oh, it looks like my calendar.
yeah. So I get the impression just by looking at the number of subscribers, which I doubt anybody can see on the screen because it's tiny. She has almost 50,000 subscribers to her channel. So
Mhm.
most likely she's no longer teaching based upon how she's talking.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a time in the past, and this is fascinating if that's true because she worked on her YouTube channel for like 45 minutes, and then she had to commute to school,
Mm-hmm.
and then It
Just prep.
yeah, she was making dinner at 3:30. Okay.
Sure,
I
sure.
don't Yeah, but what is that in the pink from like 4:30 to 6:30?
Time with Garrett? Maybe that's her personal
Oh,
time.
how the hell did she build such a YouTube channel in 45 minutes a day?
Well, I mean, it's something that has been talked about before. Like you will fill the time that you have. So if you have
Mhm.
45 minutes to dedicate to something, you will hustle and make sure that you are only working on things that actually achieve the goal during that time frame. But if you give yourself 2 hours to do the same thing, you're going to fill that 2 hours doing the same thing.
You're right.
So
You're right.
the
That's
time's going to
impressive
be there. You're
though.
going to fill it regardless. So yeah.
Boy, that's awesome. Good for her. Okay.
But just because of all the decision fatigue and like the reason I
Hmm.
wanted to get out of teaching is because it
Mm.
was so draining. And so the
Yep.
last thing, like after that whole draining day of this job I didn't really like and classroom management issues, the last thing that I wanted to do was like come home and just keep working. So
Hmm.
before all the decision fatigue kicked in, that's when I wanted to work on YouTube. So that's why I chose to work on it in the morning. So the second type of routine was these
Can we
commitments
talk
that I would
about
make to
decision
myself. And I
fatigue
would
for
have
just
these
a second?
Absolutely.
So I think that is something that I don't know if it's like general knowledge or if it's just something that is general knowledge for us because of the industry that we worked in that focuses a lot on like personal and professional development, right? Um,
Mhm.
but decision fatigue is a very real thing. Like we only have
Oh,
a finite number
so much. Yeah.
of decisions that we can make, good decisions that we can make, because after a certain point, then you're just making decisions to get it off your plate instead of
That's
being
why I have this shirt on.
methodical. What
This
does
shirt. I have if you went to my
making
closet
magic?
right now, yeah, but it doesn't matter. The what it says, but that's what it says. It says making magic happen. I have this is so funny, but if you go in my closet, you're going to see that almost all of my shirts that I wear on a regular basis are this shirt. Because I discovered that I like this neckline, these arms, the way this shirt
Oh,
hangs.
yeah.
And I was so tired making decisions. This all started when we were still at Scroopy. I was so tired that I was running out of brain space on just trying to pick out my damn clothes.
Yeah.
So I just bought. I have this and one other shirt that's a V-neck, the same style, just different colors, and that's all I ever wear anymore, unless I'm
Yeah.
going out to dinner or something.
You
Um,
know, you bring up a really great point because isn't it all of the tech billionaires or whatever? Like Steve Jobs was
that's
known
where I got
for.
the idea.
Yeah, so Steve Jobs is known for that. Mark Zuckerberg, like he
Mm-hmm.
wears very similar style of clothing all the time. And the thought behind it was because it's one less decision that they have to make. And that is something that I used to do. I haven't done it before, or I haven't done it recently, but I just told my daughter about it the other day too. So in high school and college, I would always pick out my outfits the night before. So similar to how I set up
Mm-hmm.
my day, like I decide everything and I lay it all out so that in the morning all I have to do is, hop in the shower, get ready, put on the clothes because I didn't have to think about it anymore. I had just told my daughter to do that because she had her school picture day was yesterday. And so on
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday evening, I told her, hey, go ahead and pick out your outfit and set it out. That way you don't have to worry about rushing and then possibly missing the bus in the morning because you're trying to decide what you're going to wear for picture day and you're trying to decide how you're going to wear your hair. Like make that decision tonight. And so that's what she did. And then the next morning, she was like, yep, I'm all ready. And
Yeah, that's
it
what
was
I
great.
used to do.
Yeah.
But I kept finding myself getting to the end of the day and being tired and getting frustrated that I didn't know what I wanted to wear the next day. And that was when I was like, wait a minute, I like this shirt. And in my corporate life, I had to have, outfits. And there was a time where I wore suits and, the
Yeah.
skirts
Yeah.
had to match the shoes and all that
Hmm.
shit, which is
Yep.
probably funny because now I never wear skirts. But I used to have to do all of that. And I realized, wait a minute, I hardly leave the house. It doesn't really matter. I'm already married. My wife is fine with how, me being more casual.
Sure.
And yeah, and so I was like, because I would get to the end of the night and I would just be too tired to make the decision, and I would feel this frustration. And I
Yeah.
didn't know what was wrong. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Just pick out an outfit,
Yeah.
And so that was how I got here. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and there's a reason too, like for meal prepping, like it's great to meal prep because then you don't have to think about dinner. Like being an adult means you have to think about what to cook every single day.
No
And
kidding. It's terrible. It's a
the
terrible thing.
worst. Yeah.
God, I hate it.
And especially for us, like, because like I said, the kids have activities. So like Mondays, we don't get home until 7 p.m. Tuesdays,
Mhm.
me and my older daughter, we don't get home until 10 o'clock in the evening.
Oof.
On Wednesdays, we don't get home until after 9. Thursday and Friday are the only days that we get home after school at an appropriate time, where I have the ability to sit down and kind of like peruse a cookbook or think about, oh, well, what do we want for dinner tonight or whatever. But for the other nights, we have to plan ahead, because if we don't, then what ends up happening is the decision fatigue is, it's already kicked in at that point, but we end up doing fast food. And I hate having to do that because I'm like, I want
it's
to be
so bad. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I want to be not just a good parent, but I want to be a good person overall and not have to eat crap.
Right, right.
Like I don't want to always be eating crappy food because it makes me feel crappy the next day. I know this about myself.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Graduated commitments. So when I first started, I had heard Sean Cannell say, he's like, you know what, just make 35 YouTube videos, commit to making 35 videos, and then once you get to 35 videos, then you can, reevaluate. So that's what I did. So my first promise to myself was, I'm going to get to 35 videos. I'm not going to negotiate with myself. I'm not going to get into that conversation with myself. I'm getting to 35 videos, and once I get to 35 videos.
Should we make a note of this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know who, I didn't catch the name that she said, but like 35 videos. Okay. I mean, it's similar to our podcast goal, right? Like we wanted to record, what was it? 200 episodes?
200 episodes.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
I made the commitment to myself that I was going to give it 2 years. I felt like I had consumed enough content of people saying that things really took off at about the 2-year mark of them doing it like really full time. I was like, you know what? 2 years. I'm going to give myself 2 years. And in addition to that, I had heard about the 10,000 hour rule, which is just kind of like an average approximation of how long it takes to get to mastery. The first thing I would do is I would sit down and start weekly planning. And I was specifically trying to plan in futuristic things, like not just appointments, but fun things, like basically anything that would be on like a vision board or things that I wanted to achieve that seemed like dream life things. I was putting those in first. So every Sunday night I'd be planning my week, and I would also be planning my YouTube week very specifically. So I'll see if I can find a picture of it. I'll put it here if I can find a picture of it.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just saying that I love that she did future planning for fun things too. Like I hadn't even thought about doing that. And it seems so obvious now that she said it. I'm like, I feel stupid that I haven't included that in my weekly planning or just planning in general. Like, where's my fun stuff?
Okay.
Little like weekly spread that I had that I laminated with a dry erase marker. I would fill in what I was doing for YouTube.
I like
that
this
week.
girl.
Because at the beginning I was having a really hard time figuring out a flow of what worked for me and what I could get done. So I would try one routine for a week and then it wouldn't work, so I'd erase it, and I just kept kind of like plugging and playing. I think I had sticky notes on it.
I feel like
to shuffle
me and her, we have very similar energies. Like just watching her talking with her hands, and then because she speaks quite fast, right? So listening and watching her, I'm like, oh, this could be me.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Anyways, continue.
To get rid of the silent to-do list and actually get that on paper and write the to-do list. But then a step above that is that instead of having a to-do list, you write it on your calendar. So anything you would have on a to-do list, you spread that over the appropriate time.
And that's
in the
exactly
calendar. So then you just have one
what
spot.
I did or do. And yeah. Like blocking the time off on the calendar. Like my mundane things. So yeah, my silent to-do list was go pick up the library book, go do my Amazon return, go pick up the flyers from FedEx. But I didn't just write it down. I blocked off those times in my calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Because if they don't make it to the calendar, then maybe they really weren't worthy.
Yeah, but here's the thing too that I think is really important to shed some light on, because there are a lot of people that they see a calendar with tasks like that listed out, and it can be very overwhelming for them, and to
Mm.
the point where they just shut down and they're like, I can't do anything because there's just too much stuff on there, and that's totally fine. So you've got to figure out like what it is that works for you. So whether it is putting it into a digital calendar so you can like look at it on your phone, or putting it into a planner because you prefer
Mm.
to write things out, just get it out of your head. Like really, that's what it comes down to, right? Like getting it out of your head and then putting it somewhere with time parameters. So even if it's a post-it note where you say 9 a.m., go pick up this, 10:30, go do this. If you have it, like if it's going to be as analog and simple as that, and that works for you, then do that. But what it comes down to is do what works for you. Don't try to fit yourself into what everybody else is doing, because that's what works for them. It's not going to, it may not work for you because your
Well,
brain just doesn't work that way.
I think the brain also holds a lot of shoulds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, you know, we should straighten up our front bedroom. Nobody's coming. No, we don't have any visitors on the way. It's
Mhm.
not a room that we enter very often.
Mhm.
Unless, we're getting ready for somebody to come stay the night or stay the week or whatever, right? But right now it's a complete disaster. So I know in my head that I should do that.
Mhm.
But and so it weighs there. It's heavily on my
Yeah.
brain. But the truth is, what I really should do is try to get this next piece of content published,
Right.
right? So there's a lot of shoulds in our heads, and I think that is also heavy for women too.
Yeah.
So
Well, the shoulds also go back to that decision fatigue, right? Because
yes,
now your
yes,
should list is like, okay, I should do this, but does it take priority over this other thing that I need to do? Now you've got another decision to make. Like you've just added another layer of decision making. And like I said, you have a finite number of decisions that you can make well.
yeah,
And that's every day because it resets
right,
every day.
every day. That's
And
right.
that's why sleep is so important.
That's what I was
So,
to say. And then sometimes it just wakes you up in the middle of the night.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Okay. Okay.
And the other thing is that instead of putting the result on a calendar, like test on Friday or paper due Friday, that's kind of the result. Instead of putting the result on the calendar, putting action items on the calendar. Like what's it going to take? Okay, if I have this paper to write, maybe I'll chunk it over 5 days. So rough draft, brain dump, final
Yes.
edit, whatever the steps are, putting the steps on the calendar.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that just got me really excited. I'm like,
No, no, no.
yes,
Say some things. Say
exactly.
some things.
Oh my gosh. Well, so I love that she has defined it, like it's oh, what was it? The results, putting the results on your calendar. So test on Friday is a result, but you need to break it down into study for test on Friday and then break out the chunks. So that is how I approach all projects. Like whenever I start a new project, whether it's with a new client or with an ongoing client, like the first thing I want to do is, okay, let's break it down. If the goal is to create a printed physical journal, what are the steps that need to be taken to get to that point? Like let's determine what the milestones are. And then we start working backwards, and it's like, okay, well, these are the milestones. All right, well, now that we have the milestones, what are the steps that are required to hit milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3? And then you create, your list of that type of stuff. And then once you have it broken down to like the smallest level you can get to, then you say, well, how long does it take to do this? And then you start building your timeline that way. And then it's a realistic timeline. You're not just pulling a number out of your ass saying, yes, we can create this in 3 months. Does it really
Okay.
take 3 months?
Let me ask a question about that.
Yeah.
Because I struggle with this so much. This is probably my biggest scheduling struggle.
Uh-huh.
And so, for example, let's say that I want to write a blog post.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that there are 13 steps. I'm just making
Okay.
things up because I don't honestly know the answer, which is really
Yeah.
bad that I don't know that. But let's just say there's 13 steps. But let's say that I plan to do all 13 steps in the same day.
Okay.
Do I need to write down all 13 steps, or just because I plan to do it all in the same day, just write blog post?
Well, that depends on how you work. If you think seeing 13 steps is going to be very overwhelming to you, like if you think about write blog post and then you break it out into 13 steps and you're like, I have to do all of these 13 things in one day, like that's too much. And now you're in the mindset of this is too much work. It's like I'm just not going to be able to get it done in one day. Then don't break it out into 13 steps.
I think I feel the opposite though. I think I just realized in the course of this that sometimes I feel like, my God, writing this blog post is going to just be such an ordeal because it feels so huge
Yeah, exactly.
because I haven't broken out the steps.
Yeah.
That if I started working through the steps, I would feel more accomplished instead of waiting for the big check off.
Yeah. So when
That's
you break it
interesting.
down, because so that's the way I work. I like breaking things down into manageable things. Like write blog posts to me, that's way too overwhelming because it's so abstract. Like to me, it's so abstract that I'm like, I don't even know what to do next. Like I need to know what to do next. There's that quote. I quote it all the time. It was Heather Gray who introduced me to it. She had said, people feel or people don't feel overwhelmed because they don't know what to do. People feel overwhelmed because they don't know what to do next. And so when you have a project and then you break it out into those smaller steps, my daughter's about to ring the doorbell, watch. When you break it down into those small steps, you are giving yourself that when this is done, this is what you do next. When this is done, this is what you do next. When this is done, this is what you do next. When this is done, you've completed the project. And that to me is so much more, that's so much easier for me to process than just the abstract write a blog post.
I don't do it because it feels so wasteful.
It feels wasteful. I'm going to let her in real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that. So it feels wasteful to you. Why does it feel wasteful? Like why do you think
Well,
it's
if
wasteful?
it's okay, if I'm writing it in my notebook, like where I like to write things down, then it uses a lot of extra paper to
Okay,
write
yeah.
down 13 steps.
Well, I mean, sure, it'll use extra paper, but I mean,
I'm just telling you the shit that goes through my head.
well, I'm just saying that like it's peace of mind. Is your peace of mind not worth that extra sheet of paper?
Oh God. Yes. Yes, it is.
I'm just saying. Or you could do what she had done, which I think is brilliant. You have a it's basically a template, right? Like it's a sheet of paper that
Yes.
you would fill out anyway, but laminate it so you can do dry erase markers. And then once you've completed it, you
Yeah.
can and then that'll make you feel better because you're using resources wisely because now you've created something that you can reuse and you don't have to kill all the trees, even though I have a literal drawer full of post-it notes
I know.
because I love post-it notes.
I still have so many post-it notes from when you mailed me post-it notes. And I'm like, I don't want to use all my post-it notes because that's wasteful. And so I need to
Oh
save it for a good post-it note thing.
man, I use post-it notes like it. Like look at these, look at this, like right here. It's just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
use it like nobody's business. They're just all over my desk right now.
You know what I think I have is poverty mindset.
Why do you call it a poverty mindset?
Well, because I'm afraid that if I use up my good notebooks, that I won't be able to afford to buy more notebooks.
Okay, but what makes it a good notebook?
I don't. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. Interesting. Okay.
But,
So this has
isn't
brought up
the
some
purpose
interesting.
of a notebook to be used? Don't you think? Like, to quote Phoebe from Friends, it's fulfilling its life purpose when you use it. So
Hold
it'll
on.
be
Hold on. Hold
sad
on.
if it's not used. Or actually, I think it was Ross that was saying it to Phoebe. Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
this? I
Yes.
bought these 3 weeks ago and I haven't even opened them yet because they're perfect.
They're beautiful. Yes.
Yeah,
But they need to fulfill their life's purpose, which is to be utilized.
you're right. You're right. Damn it.
It's the same as the theory of, you only have fine china for special occasions. Okay, well, what's the special occasion? Why only special occasions?
You're right.
Like, enjoy it. It was made to be enjoyed.
You know, oh my God. Um, I have this bottle of wine that I have been hoarding for 3 years.
Drink it.
Um, you sound like my wife. She's like, if you don't drink that wine, I'm not going to buy you any more wine
Drink it.
ever. If you don't drink that damn wine. You know what I think I should do? I think if Taylor Swift shows up to the Super Bowl, I should drink the wine.
There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
now you've attached a celebration to go with it, because that is a special bottle of wine to you, and whatever meaning you've assigned to it, that's what it is. But now you have a prize, right?
Yeah.
That is your
You're right.
prize for
You're right.
whatever enjoyable, exciting moment you want to celebrate.
Yes. Okay, great. This turned into a Renee therapy session. All right, let's finish this. We have
Yes,
like
let's finish it
20
up.
seconds left. Okay.
And then, yeah, just setting up that daily date with the planner as part of the morning routine. I think that was really impactful. If you liked the quick habits that I listed in this video, I have another video about habits that I'll link here. And if you liked kind of the YouTube side of stuff and like the side hustle ideas, I do have a side hustle video that walks through like my YouTube process. So if you're interested in either of those topics, I will have those linked here. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
I was very surprised with the content, because, like I said, the AI generated, I'm assuming it's AI generated description, because that's what it sounds like, right? So
Sure.
the AI generated description, I felt like there was just, it didn't give me enough information to have a thought, or to have an idea of what it was she was going to describe. So
Yeah, I agree. That was really good. I really
yeah,
liked that video. I thought
yeah.
that was amazing. Um, yeah, I like her. That was great.
And I like that our philosophies were really close. I mean, I probably shouldn't have just been interjecting, because then she talked about what I had just said.
That was
So,
funny. That was really
whoops.
good. No, no, no. That's perfect because that means that you guys were on the same page.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was great. Good
awesome.
job.
Well, I'll have to like look into more of her videos, because, like I said, I enjoyed her energy. So yeah, maybe that'll be my new thing, like using YouTube more for like, not just research, but, for as a learning platform.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
it's a
as a
motivation. So I
yeah.
like to use it. I usually listen to, well, I start my morning with politics and I allow myself the luxury of politics while I'm in the shower. And as soon as I'm out of the shower, I have to transition my day to business oriented stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then I immediately, when I get out of the shower, just scroll through YouTube, find something businessy and start listening.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah. So it's like
See, mine
business
mine has been
inspiration.
books. Like, I mean, my reward is reading, but really, anytime that I have like an idle moment, I've got my Kindle, pulling it out of my purse, or I've got like a physical book.
Mm,
Um, but I just feel like, I don't know. I need to think of what my reward thing is going to be,
yeah,
and then use that. Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for
Yay.
sharing that video. I'll have to I'll
Yeah.
have to get off TikTok. Oh, how about that? Stop finding videos on TikTok to share with you.
But TikTok is so fun.
TikTok is fun. And there are a couple of videos that I have watched where I think they would make good conversation starters, but the only downside to that is like I've already watched it,
Oh, right,
whereas
right.
with
Yeah.
YouTube you're given a title, and then you have a thumbnail, like a preview,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
then that's it. So I've got to figure out a way to not watch the potential like TikTok discussion videos
Okay.
that we can watch it
Yeah,
together.
I don't know how you would do that, but it's okay if you've already watched it too, because they're short. So,
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So, all right. Well,
all
like I
right.
said, thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.